All right. We are live on YouTube and live on Facebook. Okay, so welcome to Sunday Social. I know I'm on here a little bit late Eastern Standard Time, but I'm a little behind tonight because I had to go and be with family. We had a death in our family this past week, so I didn't know if I was going to come on here tonight or not, but I'm back home, so I figured I would just come on here late. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to give it just a second for anybody who wants to join us from Facebook and YouTube. So hope that your week has gone well. Your weekend was good and that you had a nice 4th of July holiday and if you celebrated. And I don't have a lot planned tonight, so I just wanted to come on here and answer some questions and to show off my new shirt that I got. Mental Health Matters, and it has heal in red. And so I just wanted to wear this tonight as well and let you know that if you wanted a t-shirt, then I could get one for you with this on it or whatever you would want to have on it. Just email me and I can let you know about it. But I didn't think the shirt was going to fit me, but I see that it does. And so I can get some shirts for you. But anyway, so like I said, I don't really have a lot planned tonight. I do want to just get on here and answer any questions that you have. So if anybody is on live looking right now, just let me know where you are from. And if you have any questions about the exam or about day-to-day social work in general, or just about me in general, or just about any of the other videos, the other Sunday socials, or just anything else on the Facebook page or the YouTube channel. So any questions is what I'll be taking tonight. And while you are thinking about it, and while you are typing where you are joining us from, what state and what city, I did want to talk about a resource that I learned about this week called Open Path. Open Path Psychotherapy or Open Path Collective. So I guess a lot of you all might know about Open Path. I didn't know about it until, like I said, this week. It is a place where you can refer your clients who maybe don't have insurance or who need a therapist on a sliding scale kind of basis. And so openpathcollective.org is the name of the website, and I'll put that in the description box below. But I wanted to go on there and kind of find out exactly what it was. And so for people, like if you have clients that you want, and it's a nationwide thing. So if you have clients in whatever state you're in who maybe can't afford therapy, or you really just don't know where to send them to, then Open Path is a really good place for them to go. And I know a lot of people who are clinically licensed already follow this channel as well and are a part of day-to-day social work. So this is also an opportunity for you as a therapist to give back to people who may not be able to afford therapy at your regular rates. And also for people who are studying for their license exam, whether it's on the master's level or the advanced clinical level, or if you already have your license on the master's level and you're preparing for your exam for the clinical level, this is a really good resource to know about because you can actually join it for free. You can join Open Path Psychotherapy Collective as a therapist and offer your services at a lower rate to people who may not have the resources and finances to afford counseling through their insurance or through any other means. So I went to the website and looked at the eligibility. Well, I don't want to start with the therapist first. Let me just start with just how to navigate the website. So I went on here and just put in my zip code, and I actually saw 3 people on there that I know. And like I said, I didn't even know that they were offering therapy at a lower rate. But I saw my new therapist on there who I haven't met with yet. I meet with her next week, not this coming week, but she's on there. I have a LS, a line sister, sorority sister that's on there. And I also have a former lieutenant that I worked with at the police department who's retired now, and he's now a counselor. He's really good, and I didn't even know that he was on there. So these are all people who, I guess want to give back. And so I know that sometimes when you have your own private practice, you can offer certain slots to be sliding scale, but this is all sliding scale. So I just put that information in my zip code, and I found, like I said, 3 people that I know in addition to the other people that are on there. But if I just click on somebody at random, let's see, their rates are between $30 and $60. And I guess it could be less or it could be a little bit more, but I would doubt that if it's a little more than 60. But I guess it could be a little less than 30. But the scale for this particular person, for an individual counseling session, is between $30 and $60. And then for couples and family counseling, it's between $30 and $80. And they accept Cash, Visa, MasterCard, Discover. So, for someone who normally would have to pay like $150 or $120 for an hour-long session, these rates are a lot lower for people who can't afford the therapy or don't have insurance, and maybe, they need to see somebody, once a month or whatever. But I think that there is I think there's a fee, and I think it's like $59 a year, if I'm not mistaken, where you pay the $59 one time for the year, and then you pay like little co-pays to go and see the therapist. So I thought that was a really good resource because I'm going to use it myself, because I know the clients that I work with, they have a need for therapy. And sometimes, like, for example, I have a patient who is a child, and his mom actually needs therapy because, she has been through a lot: domestic violence, substance abuse, mostly domestic violence, and it trickles down to her son, who's our patient, who now has all of these issues. So I was looking for something affordable for her because she was crying and saying that she didn't know that she could get therapy because she couldn't afford it. And so I kind of referred her to a community agency where she could afford it, hopefully on a sliding scale. But then I learned about this open path. So check that out. I will put, like I said, the link in the description box so you can go and check it out. There's a video on the website that kind of explains to you how it works. So that's where I learned about, you pay I think it's $59 once a year, and then you find your therapist. And again, it's nationwide. So, but if you are a therapist, or if you are in the process of becoming a therapist, a licensed therapist like I am, then this is also for you, because you can get on here and offer your services. And it says that they were founded by a mental health therapist for therapists. Says, we know that many of our fellow mental health professionals see clients on a sliding scale basis, and we want to make sure the process is as streamlined and rewarding as possible for you. So Open Path generates referrals for your sliding scale slots, advertises your profile for free, and enhances your ability to serve your community. So then they give you this checklist so that you can see if you are eligible. So you get free advertising, you get to generate referrals, and then there are also some member benefits. So I think that's pretty cool. And then I learned about some other ones too, but I didn't really look into detail about the other ones like I did with this one, just because this was the first one that I learned about. And so I kind of just did some research on it. And I will be using it to refer my clients to, when specifically the parents of my patients. But let's see, what else do I want to tell you about this? How do I apply? What qualifications do I need? Okay, so that's a good one. What qualifications do I need to apply in order to be a therapist on Open Path? It says you must be a licensed or provisionally licensed mental health clinician with a graduate degree in psychotherapy, counseling, or a related field from an accredited institution. We also welcome unlicensed professionals practicing in jurisdictions where it is legal to practice counseling and psychotherapy without a license. Okay, so I didn't know that. I wonder where that would be though. But anyway, it says you must also pass our peer-reviewed online application process. Finally, we require all of your all of our member clinicians to show proof of liability insurance. So that's important too. And I can't remember if I talked about this last Sunday or not, but a lot of people, no, I think I was talking to a friend about this last night, actually. So sometimes people think that they can just go out there and start practicing therapy just because they have a license or, a degree. And I'm just now seeing comments on Facebook. Thank you, Lori. And hi, Sylvia. But people think that they can just jump out there and start practicing therapy, but you can't. Like, I saw somebody comment in a group that they had just gotten their master's degree and that they were going to open their own private practice. Now, I don't know what state they were from, but, maybe they can, but it seemed like they didn't put a lot of thought into what it takes to actually just open a practice. But, I was talking to a friend yesterday who has a master's in divinity and does some counseling, and we were talking about therapy, and people have to have insurance, like, because your clients can sue you if something comes up to where it's a legit reason for them to sue you. Like, they can sue you. So you have to have, I can't recall if it's like $1 million or I don't know the exact amount, but you have to have insurance if you're going to be in private practice. So there's a lot that goes into it. And I haven't even looked into all that it takes because I'm not at that step yet, although I am looking at some things to kind of see what it's going to take, because hopefully in a year from now I'll be able to sit for that exam and pass it and then work on opening my private practice. But you want to make sure that if for some reason somebody decides that they want to sue you, that you are covered, your practice is covered. So you want to make sure that you go through the proper steps. And I'll probably do that actual research and see and share with you what those steps are and what all you need to have checked off your checklist. Or if somebody that's watching knows what those steps are, then please feel free to share with us, how that all works. But of course, as I go through the process in the next year or so, I'm going to share it with you all, because I want y'all to know, stuff that I would want somebody to share with me. But anyway, so any questions about anything? Because like I said, I don't really have a lot going on. I don't have a lot planned. This week, I am going to speak to a class at the hospital that I work for. They have a MedX Academy where they have students who are in college. I believe they're all in college. Who may be interested in the medical field. They have like an academy for them to kind of learn different aspects of healthcare. And so I'm going to speak to a class about social work. And so I was just going to do it like extemporaneously and just go off the top of my head. But then they said that they have a presentation screen and speakers and a microphone. And so I was like, okay. So I didn't know that it was on that kind of level. I was just going to go and do like I do here and just in a structured way talk about social work. But so I went ahead and made a PowerPoint presentation and kind of lined up, or outlined the history of social work and the requirements, the education, credentials, licensing, the kinds of jobs that you can have, some myths about social work and all that kind of stuff. So that's really all I have going on this week. The daily dialogue. So when I first started the daily dialogues on the Facebook page, it kind of was really interactive, but now it's kind of slacked off a little bit. So I do encourage you all to participate in the daily dialogue on Monday through Friday. I post the question at 10:30 a.m. Monday through Friday. So make sure that you participate in the daily dialogue if possible. And you can go back to previous daily dialogue posts and also post on those as well. And I normally will comment back to you and see what you say. So we have cat, not cat. Cat, not cat. I always get that confused. But anyway, so she says, as a woman, has anyone dealt with male residents, clients, patients being loud, verbally aggressive, and making subtly intimidating stances? So for me in particular, let's see, have I dealt with any aggressive males? I have, but the males were not my direct clients. So when I worked in transitional housing, it was a residential facility or program, and most of the participants were single moms, and they were allowed to have visitors, and most of the times the visitors were males, and they were not supposed to be there. So the actual participant was supposed to sign this person in, all of their visitors in, and it would be fine. But of course, people don't always follow the rules, and so they would sneak men into onto the site. And so we've definitely had to confront people, and they were males. One in particular that I can remember, I had a client who was a single mom. She was actually divorced from her husband, and she had 2 children with him, and she was homeless. So she came and she qualified for the program, and everything was fine. But then I guess he found out where she was. She had an order of protection against him. He found out where she was. She had started dating someone new, and he was not happy about that. So I guess he had joint custody of the children, and he brought the children back home, and I guess her boyfriend was there, and he was not happy about it. And he was a little belligerent because he seemed to be intoxicated, and he was very loud and aggressive and tried to be intimidating. And so we had to call the police. I wasn't afraid, like, and this was in my early 20s. Like, I'm 32 now. So when I was in my early 20s as a social worker, Lori Long says, I have worked in that type of environment, definitely have consequences for negative behavior. Right. When I was in my early 20s as a social worker, I felt kind of invincible. Like, I was doing very dumb stuff and that I probably shouldn't have done. And as far as, like, you know, confronting people, or not confronting people in like a negative way, but just being kind of fearless. I won't say that I did dumb stuff. I was just fearless. So I do recall another incident where it was another mom. She had 2 children, and she had a boyfriend. The boyfriend was not supposed to be there. And I had taken another resident in the van to go shopping or something like that. When I came back, I saw that one of her little kids was outside, and it was a little toddler, like 3 or 4 years old, outside in the backyard. And so I pull up onto the property, and this kid is outside. So I immediately, because I had just seen her with the kids before I left, so I see this kid outside in the back, and the place was close to the road. So it was a gate, but the gate was open during the day and cars would go by. So I'm like, I know this lady does not have her child out here by himself. So I go and knock on the door, and the mom comes to the door, and she's like, oh, I didn't know that the baby had gotten out, and such was supposed to have been watching the baby while I was in the shower. I just got in the shower for a few minutes, and, you know, the baby must have opened the door and went outside. So I'm like, okay, do you think it's a really good idea to have this man watching your child if he can't even make sure that your child doesn't go outside while you're taking a shower? It doesn't take that long. So, you know, we talked about making sure you know who is around your children. Like you just go to take a shower for what, 10-15 minutes, and this man is not even watching your child for you. Like, do you think that this is a good person to have around your children? And so the man comes out of the room and he starts trying to tell me, that he just turned his back for a few minutes or whatever. And I immediately kind of like hushed him, because I'm like, don't talk to me, because you're not even supposed to be here. You're not a participant of the program. I'm not talking to you right now. So, probably wasn't the smartest thing to do, but I just feel like I try to stay in the social worker role as much as possible. But when you work at a place like that, where you're there 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, and the people live there, and everything is connected. And so you really get to know these people, and they get to know you. Well, not they don't get to know you on a personal level like that, but they get to respect you and know you because they know that you're there to help them. So you kind of get attached to these situations. So when I saw her small child outside running around in the backyard close to the road, and this man is here who's not even supposed to be there, like, it really irked me that he had the nerve to come out of the room explaining and talking to me. And so I was like, look, don't talk to me. Do not talk to me. So sometimes I step outside of the social worker role, and I'm just Ashley. I'm like, look, I don't want to hear that. Like, just go. I don't want to talk to you. Don't talk to me. I'm talking to the participant of this program. But anyway, so, and he, he didn't say anything because he knew that she would probably get put out and stuff like that. But she actually decided to leave the program because she wanted to do what she wanted to do and have whoever she wanted to have over. And that wasn't how it worked in the program. But, when it comes to these aggressive males and females, I just say to tread lightly, because people are, not going to say crazy, but people will do anything these days. They don't care. People will harm you, and they'll do it just like that. Like, a lot of us have things going on that nobody knows about. Mental health matters, like this shirt says. A lot of people are just going through things that we don't even know about on a regular basis. So anything that you say to someone can make them snap, even if you don't have any intentions of like being negative or anything like that. So there are some things that I've done as a social worker in my earlier 20s, as far as confronting people, that I probably should have done in a different way. So when I was upset with this guy that was there, I probably should have had another coworker there with me. And I probably should have kept my social worker hat on and said, you know what, excuse me, sir, but I'm talking to the participant of this program. If you don't mind, could you please just step outside while I talk with her, or something like that. But my emotions got the best of me, because he had the nerve to come and talk to me about a kid who he was supposed to have been watching for 10 minutes while the mom was taking a shower. It just really vexed me, because it's like, you can't even do that. But anyway, it's irritating me to even think about it again, because I mean, people, I'm not going to say women, but people in general have to really know who they have around their children, because a lot of times some people don't even care about their own children. So to think that they would care about yours, I just tell people, and nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. So I always like to throw that out there, because it could happen to anybody. And you think you know a person, but you don't. But, I just try to encourage people to make sure you know who you have around your children. And that you, as social workers and therapists and clinicians, kind of have those direct talks with your clients about if you see something that is not quite right, if you have the rapport built with your client and you see something that's not quite right with the relationship the client has with whoever her significant other is, that may have access to her children or his children, vice versa. Like I said, if you have that rapport built, like in that environment, it was residential, it was a 2-year program, and I had these people for 2 years at a time if they completed the program. So it's different than if you just see a client, once a month or once every 2 weeks. But have those direct conversations, because sometimes people don't think about those things. They just think that everybody is good and has good intentions, but they don't really think about stuff like that. So let's see. I work in a nursing home now, and I've been cursed out by men on 4 different occasions. They're the type of men that expect a woman to be submissive in the sense of powerless. I wasn't scared, more so angry in regards to the disrespect. Exactly. Cat Not Cat is saying this. That's the same way I was. I wasn't scared. I'm just like, I was kind of like frustrated that this person is even talking to me. I felt like that was disrespectful because you have nothing to say. Like, a child is outside, a small child, open this door, unlock the door, open it, and it's outside. Don't talk to me. That's how I felt. And then she says, I've been thinking about how to professionally de-escalate the situation when it arises with these individuals again. Exactly. I'm glad you said that. De-escalation was something that they always talk to us about when I worked there, because, like I said, it's a residential program and people are there with you for long periods of time. And so if you work in a nursing home, then I'm pretty sure that you see these same people on a regular and consistent basis. So it is now as a more seasoned social worker who has been doing this for like years, now I think about things. I'm not like 23 anymore and just not flying off the handle, but just reacting. De-escalation, there are trainings for de-escalation, and they would always try to get us to do these de-escalation trainings. So now, like I said, since I'm more seasoned, I'm more likely to just look at the situation. I let people talk and say whatever they want to say. And I stay in the same, like, the kind of monotone voice. If they are arguing, yelling, getting upset, I let them have that moment. And I'm just like, okay, I'm listening to what they're saying. And then, but you don't want to be passive aggressive, and you don't want to be condescending either, though. So me as Ashley would sit there and listen to them, and then I would be like, okay, are you done? That's kind of passive aggressive. That's kind of like, but as social worker Ashley, I would let them have their moment, and you say whatever it is that you're upset about, you feel some kind of way. And then I would probably say, well, I hear what you're saying. I understand your frustrations about whatever, but this is how I see it, and I explain to them what I see. And so, and I understand that sometimes when we look at things on a gender basis, if a man feels like the woman is supposed to be submissive, and some men think that women are inferior, some men think that women should stay in a woman's place and all that kind of stuff, you have to then kind of flex your professional muscle, because you are a professional in that situation. And a lot of things you have a final say so on. And so you can let them be upset. You can let them get angry. You can let them say whatever they want to say. But then you have to let them know that you are the decision maker. A lot of times with the teenagers that I work with, they get upset and they don't want to do certain things. But sometimes, we kind of always want to let the teenagers have a say so in their care and their health, because I work with children with type 1 diabetes primarily, as an ambulatory social worker / care coordinator / case manager. And so I work with a lot of males who are like 15, 16, 17 years old, and they do get upset, and they do get, they don't get violent, they don't get belligerent or anything like that, but they do get very emotional because they are tired of having the condition that they have. They do want to be normal. They don't want to have to prick their fingers, check their blood sugar and all. They just want to be teens. And then they also are in the process of finding themselves. And so they want to, have some independence and have some say-so in their health. And I always, because we know we're all about self-determination, so I always try to let them have a say-so. So I had a child before who was very adamant about not going to get help. Now, his caretaker really felt like he should go and get help. He was an older child, like late teens, and he said he did not want to get help. So I talked to him, and that's the thing. Talk to people like they're people. Like we don't have to always flex and say, well, I'm the professional here, I'm the expert, because we're not. Like the client is the expert in their life. So I always have a voice, let them be heard. So I let him say, I don't want to go back to the hospital. I don't want to do this. I don't want to talk to these people and tell them my story all over again. So I just, empathize with them, and I say, I understand that. And I understand that you don't want to go back to the hospital, that you feel like you're, some of them feel like they're in prison in the mental health institution. And I empathize with them on that, but I just tell them, I completely get it. And they feel like the help doesn't work, and that's why they don't want to go. And they don't have that freedom. So I empathize with all of that. And I just say, I understand all of that, but from the things that you're telling me, from the situation you had last night with your brother that got physical, or the fact that you attempted to harm yourself last night, or whatever the situation is, I'm going to make a professional decision to send you anyway. And I always say, just be open-minded. It's not going to hurt you. It's only going to help. I just try to twist it in a way that, it's not so forceful, but just let them know that it's something that can help them. I'm not going to say that will help them, because sometimes it doesn't. But, I just ask them to be open-minded about seeking help and, breaking down those kind of barriers, because some people haven't ever gone to the hospital. They haven't ever gotten help. And so they just hear about how horrible it is, or, how you're going to feel like you're in prison and all this other stuff. But it's really not like that everywhere, especially at like some of these hospitals for children. They are restricted, of course, because of the fact that they might do something to themselves, but it's not like a prison, So I just kind of try to frame it in a different way. I'm trying to listen to see if that's my cell phone ringing. But anyway, so so I think it's just all about knowing how to talk people down off the ledge, which is a very hard skill, because you have to know what to say in the tone to say it. You have to know how this person may or may not react. It could be positive, it could be a negative reaction. So you just kind of have to be prepared for anything when it comes to these kind of situations. So I definitely would say, look into de-escalation training. Look online and just see if you can find anything online. Look on YouTube and see if you can find anything on YouTube that kind of deals with teaching you how to de-escalate a situation. Like I could probably prepare something for next Sunday social on de-escalation, because that's a good thing to talk about, and I will do that. But I wasn't prepared. I didn't know we were going to talk about that tonight. But definitely I'll look into some de-escalation stuff, and we'll talk about it on the next Sunday social. But again, mental health matters. I just want to show off my little shirt. If you want a shirt, email me and I'll give you the information on how to get one. And it can say whatever you want it to say. It doesn't have to say mental health matters. It could be social workers rock, or whatever you want it to be. But anyway, so Kat, I hope that helps. I will be preparing something on de-escalation for the next Sunday social. Any other questions or comments before we end tonight? Let's see. Let's look on Facebook here. Okay. All right. So I'm going to try to be more prepared for the next Sunday social. But like I said, we had a death in the family this past week, and I didn't look into anything. So, all right. So if no other questions or comments, like I said, make sure that you participate in daily dialogue. And also, if you are interested in the pre-recorded tutoring series, it's still on sale until 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. And also, if you are on this live right now, if you would like a further discount on the pre-recorded tutoring series, then I could give you an additional $25 off. You would only pay $75 for the pre-recorded tutoring series, but that'll be until 11:59 Eastern Standard Time tonight. And just tell me that you saw me say that on this live, and we can get you that additional discount. Okay, so that's all I have for tonight. I hope y'all have a great week. I'm listening to put myself on the ring. Anyway, so hope you have a great week. Please continue to know that you are making an impact in people's lives. I don't care what position you're in. I don't care if you're a case manager. I don't care if you're a receptionist. I don't care if you are working for child services or whatever if you're a therapist. I don't care what it is. If you are in this field, you are making a difference in people's lives. Everybody can't say that. Like, to even know that we make a difference, to me, it's an honor and a privilege to help somebody else. And I can only just hope that someone would help me if I ever need it. So, and I don't help because I want somebody to help me. It's just a good feeling to know that you make an impact on someone's lives. And we social workers definitely do that. Sometimes we don't know for years, but then people double back and they let you know what impact that you've made on their lives. And I think that that's the reason why we do this, is because there are always those moments that you don't expect where you get them at the most random time, and it's like confirmation, like, yeah, that's why I'm a social worker. That's why I do this. And I feel like that every time I get like a message on my YouTube videos and people tell me how they help them prepare for the exam, and they thank me for being relatable and transparent and all this stuff. Like, that's why I do this stuff, because I know that somebody somewhere in this country is looking at a day-to-day social work video right now, and it's helping them prepare for their exam, and it's helping them prepare as a social worker in their regular daily practice. So, just know that you are making an impact in somebody's life. Even if you don't think so, even if you don't feel it, you don't see it, it's definitely happening. And I'm telling you that it's happening, even if nobody else does. And you know that it's happening. You know that you make an impact on people's lives on a regular basis. And I hope that you will continue to do so. And I thank you for the work that you do if nobody else does. And I don't even know what you do, but I know that whatever it is, whatever area of social work it is, I know that you're making a difference. I know it. So have a great week, and I will see y'all next Sunday if God is willing. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.